Welcome ladies and gentlemen to another Legends of Runeterra video, and today I'm going to showcase the 3 decks that I used and abused to get from Diamond 4 to Masters. And those 3 decks are a Riven Draven Burn deck, a Eye of the Dragon Lee Sin combo deck, and the new updated Aurelia Azir deck. Yes, I used Aurelia Azir. But the first deck that I used to get from Diamond 4 to Diamond 2 was this Riven Draven Burn deck. This is a new burn deck that we haven't really seen before, and I actually got it, let me show you guys, from this guy, Thomas Zamo 2000, who's currently 8th on the NA Masters ladder. He's running, it looks like Draven Ezreal, but it's not, it's actually a burn deck. And he's obviously having great success with it. I don't know if he created it, but he's definitely the person I got it from. And I had a lot of success early on with this deck. Got from Diamond 4 to Diamond 2 with a pretty good win rate. And this is honestly you might think, why are we running Riven in this deck? Well, it's basically just your classic burn deck, but instead of running Teemo, or if you're playing discard aggro, Jinx, we're running Riven. And the reason why we're running Riven got a buff which really helps out this deck. She now reforges, but the main thing that helps out with her reforges is with Ballistic Bot and his augment. He can get to 6, 7, 8 attack, and then you just play Overwhelm on Ballistic Bot. Boom, you hit them face and you get in a ton of damage early on, and boom, you finish them off with burn. So that's basically the aim of the deck, is to just hit them face and then finish them off with your burn spells. To mulligan for this deck, you basically just looking for your 1, 2, and 3 drops. Your 1, 2, and champions. I wouldn't keep Sub Dredger, I'd rather look for the champions instead. And then the next deck, Zoe Lee Sin, which I used to get from Diamond 2 to Diamond 1. So I was playing the burn deck, but then I kept getting matched up against this Zoe Lee Sin deck, and this deck completely destroys the Draven Riven Burn deck, and I think it completely destroys most aggro decks because of the combo of Gifts from Beyond with Eye of the Dragon. You use Gifts from Beyond to, I'll quickly show you, let's go, Gifts from Beyond, you want to almost always use it on Crescendum, which will summon Eye of the Dragon and immediately give her effect to summon a Dragling next round, which is a 2-1 with lifesteal. Your opponent now has to deal with a 2-1 lifesteal card, and often, you will find very often in this, with this deck, you have double or triple Eye of the Dragon on the field, and any aggro deck just can't deal with this. They need an elusive, or they need a quick attack unit to attack. So you just use Eye of the Dragon to stall out the game until you eventually play Lee Sin, leveled up Lee Sin, you play Zenith Blade on Lee Sin, and you win the game with Lee Sin. Now the most important thing with this deck is, because you're running so many spells and you barely got any champions or followers, you need to use your spells to keep your champions alive, keep your Eye of the Dragon alive. If your Lee Sin is your win condition, if Lee Sin dies, you lose the game. So it can be difficult to play, especially if you're a new player, because you need to know what cards to play around, and if you don't know what cards to play around, you won't know, how much mana you need to keep up to either bluff or have deny available, or notify, or guiding touch, for example, to keep Lee Sin alive. And just finally, I'll quickly point out with this deck, the mulligan phase, what cards you want to keep. It's pretty simple. Zoe Lee Sin, Eye of the Dragon, Gifts from Beyond, you pretty much want in every single matchup. Against aggro, you can consider not keeping Lee Sin, and obviously against aggro, you want to keep the tasty Fae Folk as well. Then the final deck that I used to get from Diamond 1 to Masters, the deck that got me over the edge to Masters, was the classic Aurelia Azir. And now this deck did get some nerfs. Azir and Aurelia got nerfed. Dunekeeper got a little bit of a nerf. He's still a pretty good card. And the other card that got nerfed was Droplet, which you no longer see in this deck. It was the one mana elusive card with a tune. It no longer has a tune, but we just replaced Droplet with Treasure Seeker, which is a new card, which is absolutely insane. I think this is the best one drop in the whole entire game, and it obviously works perfectly with Aurelia Zia. And of course, Aurelia Zia got a new card, Recall a Unit, Blade Dance 1 for 4 mana. You can recall one of your opponent's big cards, you know, their Nasus, their Thresh, their big lifesteal unit, whatever it is, and then you Blade Dance as well. And this card is actually insane. I used to only run 2, now I run 3. And because we're not running Droplet anymore, so we don't have as much draw, as much refuel, I am now running the triple Preservarium. I really think you need the refuel. I know a few people running Field Musicians instead, but I think this card is just better. It obviously activates Shapestone as well. I think Preservarium is just better Field Musicians. I'd rather run this because you're never going to attack with Field Musicians, so I just think this card is better. As for what cards you keep, usually I always hard mulligan for Azir and Emperor's Days, and if I've got one of them, I'd probably keep my 1-drop and Aurelia as well. Against aggro, Emperor's Days is not as good, so you might look for Duo instead and try and race them down with Duo. So yeah, those were those 3 decks, and now I'm going to showcase a game of each deck. Okay, here we go. Going to showcase this Burn deck against, what do we got? The Lurk deck. So, okay, we do have the double champions, and we got Pyro Cannon. We can keep this hand. I think we can honestly keep this hand. See what we get for the turn 2 play, but we can just discard something to get double Pyro Cannon. Round 1, easy Blade Squire. Simple stuff. Basically, you're just looking for your 1-2, turn 1-2, and then your champions turn 3. Basically, your 1, 2, and 3 plays. Just pass. Oh, he misses Lurk. That's pretty bad for him. Interesting spot here. So I think we discard the Sump Dredger. This could be pretty good with Pyro Cannon. So yeah, the Brothers Bond is really good with the Daring Poros. But next turn we're going to open with probably Draven though. And see what we get. Okay, we do get this card, which would have been great on turn 2 because then we could use the Flame Chompers to hook one of his cards. Swing here. Yeah, oh, he doesn't block. That's really dangerous. We're playing a burn deck. That's very, very dangerous. And this was a thing. A lot of people didn't realize that this was actually a burn deck because they see Riven and Draven. Technically, that's a combo deck, but this is actually a burn deck. Now we can play the double 2-drops here. And we get a blocker in. And then we get the Flame Chompers as well. So, yeah, he doesn't have the best attack here. Especially since he missed Lurk turn 1. Makes it a bit rough for him. So we got a pretty good open attack. The thing is we can't play both the Riven and the Flame Chompers. So I don't think he actually he did predict he could have Pike here. Pike would be pretty bad for us. I actually don't think we go for Riven. I think we go for this play.
Time for the money makers.
And then we hook this guy. It's a lot of damage. And we've got the Brothers Bond here, and we've got Burn in hand. He might have Pike though. Let's see if he uses Pike here. And that's why we don't want to pre-commit the Brothers Bond. He's probably going to use Pike on Draven. This has to be Pike. It could be a Bone Skewer as well, of course. Now, if it's a Bone Skewer, we can respond with Get Excited onto his Hatchling. It's taken a while to think what he has. Okay, now he's got 2 spells, so he's definitely got Pike and Bone Skewer. I don't know what else it could be. But if he doesn't have a great answer, he's pretty much dead already. So there's the Pike. There's the Bone Skewer. So what we can do is we can Get Excited. So if we do these 2, then if we do this down to 4, I mean we could just use Get Excited for face, right? So I'll go for this play. So now we use the get excited. So he did it. He had double bone skewer and pike. This does more damage here. He has to, so we know he's top decking. Wait, which one is he top deck? He's top decking the 2-3 here. He's top decking the predict, which he's probably gonna. Oh, I should have played Riven, by the way. It doesn't matter because we drew into a spell. The pike has just done 3 damage. We don't have to worry about it. So I'm just gonna pass here. I don't think he's got the. I'm gonna play Riven now. I don't think he's got the vulnerable lurk card. Okay, we just take this. So pike's up to 7 damage. Overwhelm.
No turning back now.
So we want to spread our damage here. I'm gonna give Riven Overwhelm.
Bye, have a great time.
And there's the surrender. And that's the power of the deck. Now, we didn't have too much burn in hand like the Decimate, but we could have easily drawn into Decimate to finish him off there. But that is the power of the Draven Riven deck. You can win games very, very quickly. Alright, guys, we're going to showcase Zoe Lee Sin now. Now, I actually wouldn't play Zoe Lee Sin right now in NA Masters because a lot of people are starting to play Aurelia Zia and that sort of thing. So I wouldn't actually play Zoe Lee Sin right now. Okay, we got a decent hand. The key in this matchup, I think, is to keep Lee Sin alive, so he doesn't die. Well, keep him healthy. If he loses any HP, then they can use Scorched Earth. They can use a lot of things to kill him. So we'll see how this goes. We do have the Gifts from Beyond, the combo of Eye of the Dragon, so we can get double Eye of the Dragon. Interesting, he's playing this in Zoe, in, what's it called? In Ezreal Draven. You just pass here.
Flesh was weak, but look at me now. Can you improve?
So you might have Draven here.
The prettier the rose, the sharper the thorns.
We take a lot of damage. We do take a lot of damage. We can heal it back up next turn. Heal it back up next turn. We do still have enough mana for Twin Disciplines this turn if we want to
Breathe in, breathe out.
kill one of these.
Destiny awaits.
We don't want to really take damage on our units, especially since we don't have Guiding Touch in hand. Now we can play these two. He might have a Static Shock. Oh. We want to force him to use... He's already got 1 stack on Tri-Beam. We're going to be careful with Tri-Beam. So we buff up our unit, and we probably have to use Pale here just to get the blockers next turn. We don't want to take too much damage because we've only used the 1 spell, and we need to use 2. And the best spell to use is Pale to cycle through our deck. And we get another Gifts from Beyond. This at least will stop his blocks. I mean, his attack for the most part. So we can still get another eye out. He's probably gonna. We don't have. Unfortunately, we don't have. Unfortunately, we don't have Notify for his flock. Okay, that was interesting. Unfortunately, we don't have Deny here. Do we go for the triple eye or do we go for the to kill his ballistic bot? I think we go for the... I'm not sure, because I'm scared he's going to kill one of my eyes here. Yeah, we go for the triple eye.
When you return malevolence.
Humanity is obsolete.
So now we got a full row of blockers stopping his attack. Use this. You might use Get Excited. He needs to get rid of one of the eyes. Forcing him to use as much mana as possible, getting rid of all these cards. 4 damage on the Zoe.
Breathe in, breathe out.
Okay. Let's see what he has. And there's the surrender! He knows it's going to be very difficult to win the game from that situation on, especially with double Eye of the Dragon and Lee Sin. That's the power. We had the triple Eye of the Dragon. He could not attack at all. He could not attack at all with the triple Eye of the Dragon on the field. And then as soon as we got the Guiding Touch, we know he's never going to be able to kill our Lee Sin. And he had to use how many? He has to use so much mana on our just our third Eye of the Dragon just to kill one Eye of the Dragon. What did he had to use? He used 4 mana. He used Get Excited and Flock. Okay, up against Thresh Nasus, a bit of a counter matchup, but maybe we got a chance. Maybe we got a chance. We might have to keep Homecoming in our hand if we've got it. We don't have Homecoming, so we're just gonna full mulligan here, looking for Azirs. We do get Azirs. We got all our champions, so we don't have to worry about champions at this point. We just got to hopefully get okay, we got every single champion. This is not exactly ideal. Okay, he doesn't have a turn 1 play, and let's see if we can get Dias or Dua. Okay, this is looking kind of scuffed. Very scuffed indeed.
Men die, but the Arima lives forever.
We do have the Aurelia though, which is a pretty good turn here. So we got the Azir into Aurelia play. This was one of the hardest matchups, but obviously they did nerf a few of their cards. Obviously Aurelia Azir also got nerfed a little bit.
Stand down.
You got it first.
So if he plays it's fine. We've got a second Aurelia. So we've got, if he plays Thresher, we just recall. Instant recall. Um, 12 damage.
No mercy for those who desecrate our home.
They will find our lands do not take well to intruders.
We can play the Flawless Duet here. And if he plays that's fine, we don't care. Get the level up, and we've got a ton of Blade Dancers in hand. See what he plays, nothing. Aurelia almost levels up here.
Whatever they are, we face them together.
He's in a very tough spot. Very tough spot if he doesn't block. Aurelia just doesn't level up here. Now, fortunately, we do have the... We got a second Azir, so I think it's fine to attack with Azir here.
The order is given.
And he needs to block. So next turn, does he have enough for Rite of Negation? I don't think so. If he plays, he might. If he plays Thresh, I think he does. But if he plays Nasus, probably not. We can just start with the Blossoming Blade anyway. So how much has he got? 9 mana. So if he plays Thresh, he does have enough for Rite of Negation.
The breath takes, the waters give.
The Yordle here's with me.
I will not see Shurima bow to a tyrant.
And he probably forfeits here.
You will see it rise.
There it is. There it is. So Thresh Nasus usually was pretty good, but I think the matchup's actually a lot better for Aurelio Zia now, thanks to the new card, Defiant Dance. It's obviously fantastic in the matchup. They need to Rite of Negation it. And the fact that it Blade Dances as well, you know, recall a unit and Blade Dances, and in some situations you can recall one of your own units. It's a really good card.